Man, it's an honor, to be somebody that has kind of reinvented tattoo in some point of it, and I'm always trying to think outside the box. You know what? That's a good question. I never thought of that. Like who inspired me to do what I do? It's body tattoos. That the guy I started tattooing him for the first session, and he started. I thought he was drinking water, and he was actually drinking pure vodka. All right, man. So I'm Omar Fame, the owner of Fame Tattoos. I've been tattooing for 20 years now, and my shop is here in Hialeah, Florida, where I was born. If I was gonna open a shop, I opened it up in my city. So I found a lot of inspiration in Miami by the people, the cultures, the food, the music. It was awesome. Right? There's inspiration here all the time, and that's very important. Being an artist is how to find inspiration. I found inspiration in the culture of Hispanics, Cubans especially, and like the salsa and the way they dress and all that. That really impacted me in my youth to like become who I am. Growing here in Miami, there was art everywhere. Graffiti in a lot of spots. Now Wynwood, and it's always inspiring. I was inspired by all graffiti, all the trains, the walls, all the galleries. I used to be little and go to galleries with my parents. I used to do art in school and win awards, and I would be placed in galleries. So I grew up in that since a young age, and I love the art. It was fun, exciting, let my creativity go.
Yeah. Do you have any inspiration in old school art, like Renaissance art? Did that ever play an influence on you at all?
So I have a lot of influence. I love all old school art, from the 1400s, 1500s. Like, it's something that's timeless. I go to museums in DC and New York, and just I'll stare at a picture or a painting for hours, if I can. But I got people like, yo, come on, let's go. But it's mesmerizing, like the work that they did. They had no social media, they had no technology, everything was just off their minds. They'll have people pose for hours just to get that image in there, or they'll stand somewhere and just constantly paint every day to get that view. And I love that. I started studying painting. I've never painted in my life. I started painting, and I wasn't looking for the modern painting. I was looking for real classical style painting. So I started doing that.
And do you do any other mediums in tattooing? Is there something that you want to get into, maybe? Besides?
So being an artist for so many years, I have learned how to do a lot of mediums. I've learned how to paint, draw, pencil. I'm a mechanic. I love cars. I work on cars. I was actually an ASE certified technician, so I could cut a car in half, put it back together. I could paint, weld, fabricate, put air suspension, whatever you want to do in a car, I know how to do. And as well as my brother. And that is pretty cool, when you could do different things. Oh, I know construction. I built the shop, me and my brother. Done a lot of the decor. I studied architecture for 6 years in middle school and high school. I was actually going to become an architect until I dropped out because I sucked at math. And I was like, that's when I fell into the tattooing. I started working for a company, started traveling, got my first tattoo, and kind of fell in love with the art of it, And then I was like, wow, I got another one, then a third. Then I got my brother involved, he got one, and then I was in the shop a few times in that week, and then I fell in love with it. I started talking to the owner. I'm like, hey, how do you get into this? And that time you had to be an apprentice. You had to work under a shop. But I came really cool with the guy, and the guy's like, yo, man, come back on Monday. We could order everything under my license. It wasn't like now you could go on eBay or any Amazon and buy your equipment or Chinese machines or very affordable ones. Back then was like a very closed culture, very closed niche. You had to work at a shop to be able to buy machines. And I was at the right place at the right time. And the guy gave me the opportunity to buy stuff, and then I started practicing. 20-year career, man, just turned last week. It's really humbling to see how far I've gotten and see how the culture has grown into, like, it's not tattoos anymore, it's fine art, and I look at it as like it's gonna keep growing. You know, probably one day tattoo's gonna be worth, instead of worth a few thousand, few hundred thousand just to get tattooed by a certain artist. You know, like how you buy a painting for millions of dollars, you're gonna hang it on the wall. At least this, you could hang it on your body for the rest of your life. So I think that's the route that is going to that. Artists are gonna get really, really good, and people are gonna have to pay really good money for the work of specific artists.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's the whole world. You know, everybody. I think this is a worldwide thing now. You know, it's, everybody has it. Even Japan. I went to Japan recently. Before Japan, you had a tattoo, you're yakuza. You know, and so really people were hiding it all the time. I went to Japan. I saw a bunch of people with visible tattoos. You know, and to see that over there, it was like whoa. You know, and it's pretty cool how it's just surpassed that. It's not just only for gang members or mafia people. Now everybody has it in Japan.
You've traveled a lot because of tattooing. Is there any places you want to travel to for tattooing, or just in general?
Oh man, I want to travel the world. You know, like especially tattooing. That'd be cool. You know, I've done London. I would love to tattoo in Japan. I'd love to tattoo in China. I'd love to tattoo in anywhere. You know, pretty much anywhere in the world would be pretty cool. At least to start tattooing. So look, I tattooed in all these places. So yeah, I've tattooed a lot in the States. Outside the States, only England, in London. That was pretty cool. So yeah, my plan is to probably next year travel to a few out of the country and tattoo in different countries.
That's cool. And I mean, conventions definitely open that up a lot. You don't have to do a guest spot in a shop. You don't have to find.
Yeah, you could do conventions worldwide. You know, I'd rather be more like a guest artist at a shop. I think it's more relaxed. It's not like too go fast. Conventions is always a fast-paced kind of feel. I'd rather just go for like a week and do a guest spot at a shop or at a convention, because at least you can see other artists from around the world. That's always a good thing about a convention. People that actually travel from other places. You see friends from other places too. You know, it's pretty cool. You know.
And was there a specific person you can remember that got you started in art or got you interested in art? Or did it just grow naturally?
You know what? That's a good question. I never thought of that. You know, like who inspired me to do what I do? I think it was just something I picked up a pencil, started drawing in school. My teachers would get mad at me. He's like, "Hey Omar, do your classwork." I'm like, "I'm already done." So I was just doodling the whole time. And then teachers would tell me like, "This is not gonna take you anywhere in your life," you know. And now I look back and laugh at that. You know, it's like, hey, look where I'm at.
Yeah.
Tattoos at a young age was like the Ed Hardy, that whole Ed Hardy craze, and yeah, Ed Hardy clothes and all that. That's what really got me like thinking more about tattoos. When I was younger, it wasn't in my mind. But when Ed Hardy came out, the clothes, the shoes, the hats, and everything, that kind of like, wow, tattoo artist got to a point that they had their own clothing line and accessories for cars. Man, he had everything. So I was like, that's why I kind of like dabbled into the tattoo industry and started. Oh, I want to get a tattoo eventually. You know, one of my tattoos I wanted to get was an Ed Hardy tattoo. You know, because like, oh, I want to get an Ed Hardy. You know, it'd be cool. And you know, it's pretty cool that it got to that point. You know.
Sure. And is there any new artists that you think people should be looking at or keeping an eye on?
Man, there's like a lot of great artists right now. One of my top artists that I love is actually, his name is Machkov. He's a Russian artist based in New York. He actually tattooed me on my thigh a self-portrait of him. He's really cool. He uses like the graffiti inspired tattoos on the faces and stuff like that. This is a couple of years old already. Really cool concept, you know. He's known just for that. Everybody gets a different portrait of somebody they like, and it's pretty cool. You know, he's a great artist, good guy. He actually did a guest spot here when he did that on here. Just check him out. I think he's one of the greatest right now.
And you do, I mean, it's one of the advantages of owning your and do a lot of guest spots for people you want to feature.
Yeah.
And
it's really cool to, you know, when you own a shop, you could actually have artists come in and do guest spots, and you learn from each other. You know, that's the whole part of guest spots. You know, going to somebody's shop that you admire, and then seeing how they work, they see how you work, they come to your shop, back and forth. You know, so I've done a couple of guest spots with certain artists that I liked, and you know, I get to see them at work. You know, not just through social media and a couple of little clips. I actually was there seeing them tattoo.
And I was lucky enough to film Omar tattooing, so here's some clips of that for you guys. This is the top shop in Miami right now. So
You could say that, top shop, best shop, I think, everybody has their opinion. Yeah, I am a great shop. I do cater well to all my clients and to the customers, you know. Um, you want to come to a place, you can do everything in one shop. There's some certain shops that only specialize in traditional, some shops only specialize in black and gray. At least here, we are able to cater to all, to all. We do cover ups, black and gray, color realism, whatever you want, we have it here. We do piercings, we do a little bit of everything. We actually design the tattoos for the clients before they can see it on digital formats, Photoshop or the iPad. And now with the whole AI, we can actually give you more of a 3D aspect of the design. So they can actually see it on the arms and the legs and the bodies. And it gives it's easier to sell at the end of the day.
I also just wanted to get into your background in art, because you said you've done a lot of other mediums, but is there any medium you want to turn into a career like you did tattooing, or is there just more you just love art and doing it as a hobby?
Yeah, like my background on art is just art. I've been drawing since I was a kid, and I draw when I can. I really, honestly, I haven't drawn in like 20 years until like last year. I started going to some art classes, and actually like picked up at drawing again. My art, my medium was skate for many years. A story that I remember that I got into painting was I was at a convention one time, and someone came up to me. He was looking at my work. He's like, "Man, you're an amazing artist. Do you paint?" And I'm like, "No, I don't paint. I don't make time for it." He's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Nah, to me, I don't think it's that cool, And he's like, "Your work will die with your client. A painting will live on forever." And that's when like got me thinking, like, man, you know what? Like, it's true. Like, I'll do amazing work, but it's gonna die with my clients and get old, wrinkly. But a painting could be passed on to the generations. That's why I started painting, because I always had that stuck behind my head. And I started painting. I don't want to be nobody super famous, but as long as I could be able to pass along paintings to my kids and grandkids, and one day it might end up in a museum. But it's cool, like that a painting can live forever in a tattoo pen.
What's your relationship like with the other artists around that work here?
Yeah, the relationship here with my guys is we're family. We're not. I try to not seem like I'm the boss. I'm trying to be at their level. Like, I'm an artist just as you. And we work together. We work long hours, and I'll critique their work. After they've done, I'll be like, look, you should have done this. You should have done that differently. And make them better as an artist. And it's been cool seeing the artists grow as well. They come in at a certain level, and then they get a lot higher and probably to my level in the game, so it's pretty cool to be able to help them with that.
Sure.
Doing everything I love to do. People come to me for my work, it's always also the consistency of work, People go into my social media, Instagram, TikTok, my website, and what they like is the consistency of my work. You could see people's work, and some people's work will kind of downfall after a while. Some people hit their peak and it'll downfall. And some people are just constantly down, or some people will just constantly get better. As long as you have consistent work constantly, people look at that. It's like, man, this guy's been tattooing great for so many years. Like, I know for sure if I go get one, it's gonna look great. I seen artists that I used to follow that their work was super great, and then during the years is gone down because they probably got famous. They probably have, God knows, the issues and the stresses that they have, that their work starts declining. And I try to keep mine always steady or always going up. It's very important to and then always reinvent yourself. Make sure that your work is always ahead of the game or always doing something. So I'm always, each tattoo I do, I try to do it better.
And how do you keep up with the trends and the new techniques and everything that's coming, that's new
To
and new?
keep up with the culture and the whole trends, You just gotta be in social media, looking at all the artists, there's artists popping up left and right. Now with YouTube and different social media platforms, it's helped a lot of artists grow a lot quicker. You know, when I started, there was no YouTube, there was no Instagram. You know, there's only magazines and certain websites that had showcase tattoos. And so it was pretty much just based on the artist. How creative were you as an artist? Now with like AI and social media, you get to like study all these great artists, and it makes you a better artist. So I'm always constantly, you know, staying up on it. I'm always looking at different artists, studying their works, and looking at different videos of tattooing. There's a lot of training videos and of different artists that, you know, try to teach you their skills. And I've bought a bunch of them, and I'm, you know, trying to get a little nitpicking from each artist can make you into a certain artist. You know, we're building a platform to do seminars and to show my art and how to do certain things that I do differently. But yeah, I've done a lot of conventions during the years all over the world. I've won over 300 trophies in different categories, to realism, to new school, traditional, a little bit of everything. I have a collection of.
And I know you do everything, but your favorite is still realism, correct? Super realism?
Yeah, so my style is everything. You know, I don't just stay with one style, do everything. I'm well diversified in all the tattoo styles. I prefer realism. I love it. It's nothing like showing something to somebody and it's like, wow, it looks exactly like the picture. I did kind of stumbled into that 3D X-ray style that I've kind of like created. There's other artists in the game, Ultimate Vision, that he created like a 3D, just like a very basic two, you know, double line colors. There's other artists that done it, but I pretty much brought the realism into that 3D X-ray style of mine, which is pretty cool. You know, there's only a few artists in the game right now that kind of do those different colors, and I'm one of them. You know, we're one of the innovators of that kind of style. So the way I started looking at that style, it was an artist, Insane 51. He's a graffiti artist, amazing graffiti artist, and I saw it on a couple of walls that he had put it up on social media. There again, you know, social media is a platform to study, and I saw the work, and I'm like, wow, could that be done on a tattoo? So I started looking around. I saw that nobody had done it before. So I kind of like I figured out how to do the Photoshop of the designs, how to create that design on Photoshop. And then I got a couple of my artists and practiced on them, seeing if it worked or not. And I saw it did work, and I just started doing them. And it went viral. And recently, one of my back pieces I did a few years ago, I think like 4 years ago, went viral again on a convention, and it went got over 40 million views on a lot of platforms. So that was like, whoa, again, that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And how does it feel being, you know, an innovator in the tattoo industry? You've been in it for so long, and now you actually have your own style you're famous for. But
man, it's an honor, you know, to be somebody that has kind of reinvented tattoo in some point of it. And you know, I'm always trying to think outside the box. You know, I try not to follow trends. I try to always, you know, I nitpick from a lot of different styles and then create my own kind of look, you know, and that's what I think every artist should do, is create their own styles, create your own, not copy from another artist. You know?
I mean, as an artist, does AI art scare you, or is it more a tool to use?
AI, it's good and bad, you know. I love it. I've been using it since it came out, you know. I was actually, when Mid-Journey came out, the whole AI platform for like artists, I started using Mid-Journey. I was operating, so I was like dabbling into it, learning how to use it. I came back to the shop. I started showing all the guys like, yo, look at this. And everybody was like, whoa. And, you know, it's great because now it makes designing easier, you know. But now the bad and the con of it is that now anybody can be a great designer, you know, which is good. You know, that gives everybody an opportunity to be a great designer. Before, what kind of divided you as a good tattoo artist was your designs, you know. People would be like, man, how the hell he designed that? You know, like, how did he get those images? Where did he get them? A lot of people use Pinterest, Google. So you could kind of see multiple images of the same thing being used during the years, like certain faces and skulls. So having Mid-Journey creating different faces, different images other than what's on Pinterest or Google, it's amazing, you know, and it makes any design more creative. And so now you have these artists that, as long as you know how to tattoo and you have the skill set to do it, you can create amazing work.
And with anybody being able to create whatever image they want, is it harder to manage customers' expectations?
Actually, it's actually easier to manage their expectation because now with AI, they give you, oh, I want a skull with a headdress of an Indian with a wolf in the background and a moon and a mountain. You just type that in there and the AI will create at least a starting foundation, and then you could start like nitpicking and making it look different and create an image a lot quicker than, you know, before we'll spend an hour or two on a design, we could do it in 10 minutes, you know, at least get the platform of the design, which is usually like where do I start, you know? It's always having the first couple of designs to kind of get your mind being creative.
That's crazy. And you do cover-ups here. This is one of the shop's specialties. You do a lot of
Yeah, so I got into cover-ups in a time that nobody was doing it. You know, that was a niche I found that I was able to get into. There was a lot of great artists when I started tattooing, and I'm like, how can I get up there with these great artists? So I saw that a lot of people were coming asking for cover-ups, and nobody was doing it for them. You know, they're like, I went to 20 shops, and nobody told me they could do it. So I started taking it in my hands. I'm like, all right, I'll try. So I started trying, you know, there's a couple that didn't work so well. So I started learning color theory and what colors help cover up other colors. And that actually made me even better. And I had other artists sending their clients over to me so I could be able to do the cover-ups for them. So that was pretty cool.
And yeah, I mean, you have a pretty good relationship with a pretty famous machine company, right? Cheyenne. You've always been using their machine.
Yeah, so I'm one of the sponsored artists. I've been using their machines for over 10 years, probably almost 15 years already. And yeah, man, I was actually lucky enough to win a convention at I think 2020. I won Best of Show over there, and they were there. I showed them the work, you know, and I actually got sponsored by them finally, you know, and it was cool. You know, it's something that as an artist, you know, to get sponsored by companies like getting sponsored by Nike. To me, they're Nike, you know, in the tattoo industry, and it's pretty cool to be under them, you know, and makes you like, man, I made it to a certain point in my career, and I'm still kind of pushing myself always to get better. I don't think I'm the best, you know, it's way better artists out there, but I'm good at what I, you know, and I think nobody should never be like, oh, I gotta be like this guy. Just be you, you know, be yourself, do the best that you can do. You know, you do the best you're gonna do, you're gonna little by little scale up there, and then people are gonna look at you, you know. When I used to look at my mentors, now they're looking down on me, you know, so that's pretty cool, you know, like to get to that point in a career, you know, when your mentors or your idols actually are now on your level.
Talking about that, who are a couple of your idols in the tattoo industry?
Oh man, idols in the industry, there's a lot. You know, it's very hard to say, and there's too many styles that I like. A lot of the innovators of the game, you know, you got Paul Booth, one of the top guys in horror, biomechanical kind of styles from back in the day. That was one of like top guys. And you got like Nico Hurtado, one of the most realism artists at the time when they came out. You know, he actually brought that realism into the game. Man, there's Dimitri Solomon. He's in Europe, an amazing artist, one of my top picks I like to look at. There's just so many. It's really hard to say.
Yeah. Tattoo. What keeps you tattooing?
What keeps me tattooing, man, is just the art, the everything. You know, like I love waking up and coming to work. Like it's not like, oh my God, I gotta go to work today. No, I can't wait to wake up. Sometimes I can't sleep because I know I'm gonna do a cool tattoo. So I'm like anxious and stuff, you know, and then you get to meet all kind of people. You get to your clients become your friends because we do multiple sessions on them. So I have a lot of friends, if you want to say. But it's really cool. You get to hear sad stories, funny stories, you know, especially when like you're doing a portrait of a family member that passed, and they get, they open up and they cry to you. It's like I'm like a psychologist in a way as well. But it's fun, man. It's never a dull moment in the industry. Man, I've done some crazy tattoos. I've done like side body tattoos. That the guy, I started tattooing him for the first session, and I thought he was drinking water, and he was actually drinking pure vodka. And he's there laying down, taking the pain, and then he's like, I gotta get up and use the bathroom. And when he got up, he just fell, like how drunk he was. And I'm like, yo, what happened? And then he's like, I'm good. And he started mumbling. I'm like, oh, what are you on? And then I see the water, and I open it up and I smell. I'm like, yo, you're on vodka? Like, you should have told me this, because I go, you're gonna have to sober up, So I sat up, like, he fell, dirty my wall. It was a mess, That was one of my funniest moments in the game. I've had people get like topless, girls will be like, I'm gonna get a tattoo here in my ribs, and they'll just take off the whole top, and I'm here like, you just could have just lifted it up, You don't have to show you. She's like, oh, I love being naked. I'm like, okay, So it's never a dull moment in the industry, being a tattoo artist. There's always some crazy stories, and it's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it's definitely one of places and industries that bring in all different kinds of people.
Yeah, we get a couple of loose screws coming in here all the time, But if they're at least straight and they're not intoxicated, we'll tattoo them. As long as they know what they're getting and they're aware that they're getting tattooed, we'll tattoo them. Because you can't deny something that they want. As long as you're not intoxicated or drugged up or anything, we're good to go.
Right. I mean, is there designs you refuse to do when people come in?
We try to educate the client. We don't refuse a lot of stuff unless it's a kid, a young kid or a girl that wants to get a face tattoo. We'll be like, yo, are you sure you want to get this? You're still young. Like, now is when I got my neck tattooed after 20 years of tattooing. I got it done a few months ago, and I'm like, look at me, like I have no tattoos on my neck. Now I do. This is past, post neck tattoo.
Right.
And I mean, I don't even have it, or my hands, You should think about it, getting a tattoo in your cheek at 16, 17 years old. I don't recommend it, But they all want to be like the rappers. They all want to be a rapper. They all want to be like all these influencers.
Do you think a lot about longevity of your work in general? Like, what's gonna be like in 20 years?
Tattoos are gonna age. It doesn't matter who the artist is. Your body's always gonna break down the ink, and it will age. That's why you see like these sailors from the early 40s and 50s that their tattoos are like almost gone and faded. That's how everybody's tattoo is gonna look like, But it's the story behind it, the life that you live with it. Because once you get a tattoo, people are gonna look at you, they're gonna judge you, they're gonna admire your work. So that's something you're gonna take with you no matter what. Even if the tattoo gets super old, it's still gonna be on you. And all the stories and memories that you have.
I want to thank Omar for welcoming me into his shop and letting me film him tattoo. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe for more.